another bunch of Malifaux miniatures. We got Rasputina, Silent One, Lacroix, Lilu, Avatar of Famine, and Blessed of December. These are my old metal Malifaux miniatures. I'm surprised I don't have more of them. When Malifaux was still metal, I was too much preoccupied with Bushido, and I was doing a lot of commissions as well, like my friends asked me to paint his Colette crew. I still have plenty of unpainted metal Malifaux minis, and I will probably paint some more in the future, but these 6 is all I have right now. Let's look at each of them in greater detail. Rasputina, the Arcanist Master. For the base, I press molded the face of a miniature called Mountain Warrior from Confrontation Range and turn him into a tree. That's a really well designed base actually. The branches on the tree look nice and symmetric, and there's a pile of rocks conveniently placed there so she can get up on that tree without too much effort. I also painted this really nice Russian style freehand pattern on her clothes because her surname sounds Russian. I presume Rasputina is her surname. Because it's fantasy, it doesn't need to be culturally accurate. For all I know, Weird could have intended it as a first name. Next we have the Silent One. Quite a few people were interested how I did the snow on this miniature, and were surprised to hear that I actually sculpted it from Milliput, because when people see snow on the base, they automatically presume something was sprinkled on it, and that's how it's usually done, but I just make some marks in the surface and then paint it white and apply washes. It's hard to see from here, but inside that little building is a book stand with an open book in it, and above it there's a little figure of an angel. It's a sort of a little shrine covered in snow. It was actually quite difficult to make her sit on top of that building, because her feet supposed to go on a flat surface and the roof is sloped to the either side, so I pressed her feet into the snow while the putty was still soft, and that created space for her feet to go in later. Blessed of December. This is basically Wendigo, even though Malifaux already has a miniature called Wendigo, but this looks more like Wendigo than an actual Wendigo, because the original little metal one looks like tiny Bigfoot, and the new plastic one looks like Wampa from Empire Strikes Back. A really grisly looking base here. I used Mantic zombie miniature to make this frozen corpse, which the creature tries to pick up, but it's so frozen to the ground that when she pulls hard, I presume it's a she, it snaps under pressure, and she holds up only half of it. Something like that. It's horrible, isn't it? How do I come up with these twisted ideas? I mean, I don't watch horror films, find them depressing, and then this. It's a paradox. Rasputina's avatar, or Avatar of Famine. Some reposing and resculpting was done on this huge miniature. One of his legs was cut off and then reattached at an angle to make him look like he's walking, and the other one was made longer, so he actually became quite a bit taller. He's in a sloped base, and it's unclear whether he slides down it or walks through it, or even if it's part of him. He's like a walking avalanche that devours everything in its path. Or like a gluttonous cube, for those of you who are into D&D. You can see that my early Rasputin miniatures really showing the nasty side of the Cult of December, I started painting them after painting a lot of Bushido Cult of Uray miniatures, so I was still very much inspired by the horror theme. Once it takes hold of you, it doesn't let go. Here's Lilu. If you're wondering where Lilitu is, she isn't painted, so probably in a plastic blister somewhere. He's barely recognizable, with all the conversion work done on him. First of all, he has wings, donated by a Night Terror, because in previous edition he could fly. I also removed his horns and replaced them with a single horn on his forehead, and gave him a beard from one of the Chaos Marauder horsemen. But what really changed his look is the pose. He no longer stands on the ground, instead uses his arm to help propel himself up as he's about to fly into the air. On the base here we got garden gates. Press-molded roses on the side amplify the gothic feel of the whole composition. Friends told me that it would have been much better if I used etched brass to make the gates, but I never worked with the material. All I have is milliput. And here's the first Malifaux miniature I ever painted. Remy Lacroix, with that multi-barreled long rifle of his, which uses Little Piglet as a counterbalance. Hilarious miniature. He's the only member of his team who I actually painted. And that's how it's going to stay, because I got rid of the rest of miniatures from that starter and got myself the new plastic one. On his base there's a wind turbine built into the edge of a cliff, in case you were wondering what that propeller was. And there's a little platform for Remy to stand on. These old metal minis make me feel nostalgic, as the plastic completely takes over. And we came to the end of the video. Subscribe to my channel, comment below, and take care.